Have you ever fallen in love with that perfect character from a K-drama? The attentive, romantic man who would do anything to protect the woman he loves. Now imagine that behind that angelic face and fairy tale worthy scenes lies a reality no one tells you about. Yes, we're talking about Korean actors themselves. And let me tell you, their real lives might come as a shock to anyone who believes in the perfection they portray on screen. Ready to find out why you shouldn't blindly trust your favorite actors? The truth is that dramas and movies create a kind of illusion. They present men who seem to be pulled straight out of our dreams, always kind, respectful, and willing to do anything for their loved ones. But what happens when the cameras stop rolling? That's when the magic disappears. Many of these actors, whom you probably admire, have been involved in scandals that would make any horror script look tame. And let's face it, that's not something fans like to admit. The thing is, these scandals reveal a very different side of the people we thought we knew. Can you imagine an actor who played the charming prince in a drama being accused of cheating on his pregnant wife, for example? Or the guy who seemed like the definition of respect caught making offensive comments about women? Yep, that's happened, and it happens more often than you think. Hang tight, I'll tell you all about those two cases in a moment. In today's video, we'll dive into exactly that. How these actors, who make us swoon on screen, can be very different from what they seem. We'll talk about shocking cases that shattered the perfect image of some of the biggest names in the Korean entertainment industry. And, of course, leave you thinking twice before idealizing that actor you adore. After all, reality is much more complicated than fiction scripts. Stay until the end, because the examples we've brought today will surprise you, and maybe even leave you a little disappointed. Are you ready to uncover the hidden side of Korean actors? Let's get started. Let's be honest, Korean dramas know exactly how to pull at our heartstrings. From the flawlessly perfect protagonists to those stories that make us cry and swoon at the same time. But what you might not realize is how much these productions influence the way we see the actors who play these roles. It's almost as if we forget they're real people, with flaws and problems, and start seeing them as their characters. Think about the cliches K-dramas love to explore. The male lead is almost always a handsome, successful, caring, and incredibly loyal guy. He's willing to face any obstacle to protect the woman he loves. Sometimes he starts off cold and distant, but in the end, he always proves to be the perfect partner. These stories are designed to make us believe people like this truly exist, and worse yet, that the actors playing these roles are exactly like the characters they portray. It gets even more intense when we think about the power of the Korean entertainment industry. Agencies control every aspect of an actor's public image, from what they post on social media to the interviews they give. Everything is carefully crafted to fuel the fantasy that these artists are perfect both on and off screen. It's as if they live on a pedestal, untouchable and immune to real-world problems. And we buy into it, don't we? When an actor stars in multiple epic love stories, it's hard not to form an emotional connection with him. You're not just watching the drama, you're falling for the character and, without realizing it, projecting that perfection onto the actor. It's as if he becomes a real-life Prince Charming, someone who would never make mistakes or do anything questionable. But in reality, things are far from that simple. Real life is very different from a drama script, and actors, no matter how talented they are far from perfect. They're people like anyone else, with flaws, bad decisions, and in some cases, scandals that reveal a much less glamorous side. And that can be a shock for fans who have idealized these celebrities as perfect versions of their characters. The problem is that this romanticization creates a barrier. It makes it harder for the audience to accept that their favorite actors can make mistakes, and when it happens, the disappointment is even greater. After all, no one likes to see their idol fall off the pedestal, but it's important to remember that at the end of the day, these artists are only human, and humans can be far more complicated than any fiction script. Let's start with a name that's been in the spotlight, Yoo-yeon-seok. If you've watched the series When the Phone Rings, you were probably impressed by his performance, and may have even grown fond of him. But the truth is, off-screen, Yoo-yeon-seok has been at the center of some rather unpleasant controversies. In 2016, during the promotion of the film The Mood of the Day, alongside actress Moon Chae-won, Yoo-yeon-seok made remarks that were widely considered sexist regarding women's clothing. He stated that if a woman wore revealing clothes on a date, he would interpret it as a sign of interest. Conversely, if she were more covered, such as wearing a turtleneck, he would assume she wasn't interested in him. He even directed a comment at Moon Chae-won, who mentioned she preferred wearing turtlenecks and pants, saying, "That's why you don't have a boyfriend." Another case that made headlines involves Lee Byung-hun, one of Korea's most celebrated actors, known for his award-winning performances and a career that spans both Korean blockbusters and Hollywood films. He's also one of the stars of Squid Game, Netflix's most successful series to date. In 2014, his personal life became a national scandal. Lee was accused of cheating on his wife, Lee Min-young, who was pregnant at the time, with 2 different women, a model and a singer. The scandal hit the media after text messages between him and the 2 women surfaced, exposing his extramarital involvement. As if this wasn't devastating enough, he became the victim of an extortion attempt by the 2 young women, who threatened to reveal more private details about his life. The public reaction was divided. Some argued that everyone makes mistakes, while others criticized how the scandal shattered the perfect image of a devoted husband and father he had built over the years. To make matters worse, Lee Byung-hun never showed genuine public remorse, which only prolonged the controversy and further damaged his reputation. And of course, there's the case of actor Kim Ji-soo. He was one of the most promising names in the industry, gaining recognition in productions like River Where the Moon Rises and building a solid fan base, thanks to his charisma and talent. However, in 2021, his career suffered a devastating blow when accusations of school bullying surfaced. The allegations emerged on online forums, where former classmates of Kim Ji-soo claimed he had been a bully during his school years. The reports included accounts of physical intimidation, verbal abuse, and even humiliating behavior toward other students. Some victims alleged that Ji-soo was part of a group that terrorized others, turning their school lives into a nightmare. Faced with these accusations, Kim Ji-soo released a public apology on his social media. In the statement, he admitted to making mistakes during his school years and expressed deep regret to the victims and the fans who had believed in him. The consequences were swift and severe. Ji-soo was removed from the cast of River Where the Moon Rises, a drama that was already airing at the time. To make matters worse, the episodes he had already filmed had to be reshot with another actor, causing significant financial losses for the production company. His agency, Key East Entertainment, also terminated his contract, effectively ending his career in the industry. After all this, it's clear that not everything is as it seems, right? Korean actors, often admired for their perfect roles in dramas, are just human beings with flaws, mistakes, and sides that don't appear on camera. The problem is that by overly romanticizing these characters, we sometimes forget to separate the actor from the person. And when reality hits, the disappointment can be even greater. The cases of Yoo Yeon-seok, Lee Byung-hun, and Kim Ji-soo are just a few examples of how the entertainment industry shapes the image of these actors to make us believe in their perfection. But behind the scenes, they face scandals that reveal a much more human and often problematic side. This brings up an important question. How healthy is it to idealize these public figures? It doesn't mean we should hate them or blindly defend them, but it's a crucial reminder. What we see on screen is fiction, carefully planned and designed to captivate us. Real life, however, is full of nuances and challenges, and it often doesn't align with our expectations. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever been disappointed by an actor you admired? Or do you still believe it's possible to separate the artist from their actions? Share your thoughts in the comments and let's discuss it. After all, reality is far more interesting and shocking than any drama script.